Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be testing out the range extender. So this is the specialized range extender. It fits like the Kenevo SL, the Levo SL, and I think there's a road bike variant that it fits. So you get a different length cable to attach the battery. This is the 230mm one. I think there's a 160 and I think there's a third length. So you need to make sure you get the right length for your bike. Now simply all you do is you attach the cable, which isn't supplied with it. So you attach the cable into the unit and through that trough. And all you simply do, I say simply because I'm doing this one-handed, we just switch it around. This might be a bit easier. So all you simply do is put the cable through there, and the range extender just sits into the bottle holder, and then that lug basically sits over there, so it holds it in. And then the cable, simply you open up your cover, pushes in there, you push it in hard, and what you have to do is this pulls down once, it says, once it's in. Oh my god. Once it's in properly, and simply pull it all the way down there so it has to lock. And there you go, then you get another elastic bandy type thing, saying specialised on it. And this just goes over then just to make sure that it can't actually fall out. So again, trying to do this one-handed is not that easy. Let's just get it on roughly. And all I do is I'll pull this down to here. I know it's all twisted, but I'll sort that out when I actually ride. No, I'll do it now because I'm OCD. Okay, and then that just stops it from being able to fall out. This is probably one of the worst videos I've tried to do. I should really mount my GoPro to my chest, but guess what? I'm in a lazy mood today. Anyway, you get the idea. So the range extender obviously allows you to go further. But the other reason why I've got it is obviously batteries have so many charge cycles. Obviously the main battery in here I think is about £900 to replace. So I thought if I get the range extender and I can go out for rides and just use up the battery in the range extender as well, it means I'm going to have a longer lifespan on my internal battery. So it's twofold, so I can get a bit more range on those bigger rides, I can use the bike in turbo a bit more often, and I can also, like I say, if I'm going on short rides, just utilise the battery first. So you can go into the mission control app and you can set the bike to use the battery first. Now as it connects to the charging port here and the battery here, to charge the actual battery itself, use the normal charge cable. You can get a splitter, but it's about 50 odd quid. So this goes in with the specialised logo facing horizontal. God, why is everything so much harder when you're trying to do it one-handed? Right, there we go. And then what happens is when you plug it in, there you go. So it's 3 bars. So each one's worth probably, what, about 33%. So then you can charge this. So then if you want to charge the bike up, if you've got the range extender on, you have to, again, like I say, we're only using the cable provided, and this points upwards, does the arrow on this one. So it's annoying you've got to buy another 50 quid cable, so you've got to spend pretty much nearly £400 if you want to be able to charge them both at the same time. You know, obviously the benefit of this battery is you can take it anywhere and charge it, as long as you've got the adapter. But obviously the battery in the bike, you don't want to be taking it out because that takes about 45 minutes. So yeah, the combined battery life is 150%. On the bike it shows it when they're connected. And so what I'm going to do is show how much extra riding I can get out of the battery. I'm going to go to Hamsterly, I'm going to stick it in turbo, do a few loops until the battery's drained, and see how many laps I can actually get out of the range extender battery before needing to go into the main body of the battery, and also how well the battery switches over from the external battery to the internal battery when I'm riding, when I get down to that nearly 0% on here, because as your percentage drops, the voltage delivery also drops as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the bike feels. If it switches over at the right time, we'll have any issues there. Okay, so I'm going to unplug the bike. See if I can plug this in easier this time. See if I can make myself look like I know what I'm doing rather than previously. push it in. Oh my good lord. It's in. Boom. So the last thing I need to do before I head out is mount my water bottle. Mount my water bottle. Okay, so obviously when you use a range extender, it uses up the only bottle mount on your bike. So if you are going out on a decent length ride and you need to keep hydrated, then you're going to need some kind of backpack like a Camelback, or other brands are available. So yes, that's the only blatantly obvious negative, that yes, you lose that ability to have a water bottle on your bike. Right, now I'm going to get the bike in over to Hampstead and let's see how we perform. Right, so here I am at Hampstead, so I don't know if you can see very well, I'll try and lean down. So 150% battery, I'm hoping it's shown on the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ride to the top, see how many runs we can get of Polties all the way down to the bottom of the red run. Let's have a look at how many miles it reckons I'm going to get. So it reckons, see how quickly that drops, it reckons the distance is 61.3 miles. I expect to get that off the battery, but we'll see. I've got it in turbo. Oh no, sorry, estimated range, I don't know, I was looking at that. Sorry, 37. Let's have a look at the right screen. So 37 is the range. That's obviously my speed, so we'll see how we do. Let's change it back to whichever my main screen is. Let's just I'll fast forward this bit of me doing the climb, but you'll see how kind of long it is. So we've used up 1% so far. Right, let's get cracked on. So you can see, down to 135% battery off that climb. So in theory, I might be able to squeeze 3 runs out, because obviously on the way down it's going to use a little bit of battery and not shed loads. Oh. So I'm just going to put my seat down. I don't know why my dropper's not working. That's brilliant. There we go. Oh. So, as to the top, so that's the trail where it kind of the red starts, called Polties Last Blast, and then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and then see how many more leaps we can get. And by the bottom, on 27%, you can see, oh, in a range of 28 miles apparently. Now it's time to climb all the way up It's a bit of a longer climb, but I'm not going to film this climb because it's boring. I'll just film at the top and let you know what the battery's down to. Right, so I'm near the top and it's just dropped below 100 and 10% on the battery, and I feel a lot of resistance now. It feels like it's not, it reckons it's in turbo, but it doesn't feel like it. It's almost like the battery's throttling itself, like it's in a like low power saver mode or something, but it definitely can tell us a lot more resistance to pedalling now than there was before it dropped below 10%, definitely. So it's almost like the last 10% is pretty worthless. So well, it's got to me to the top for the next run down, 107%, so you don't really need much battery because you're going above 50 mile an hour for most of this. But it's going to be interesting on the next climb when that goes to 100, how it switches over from the battery, the external battery to the internal battery. So it'll be interesting to see how it feels and how it cuts over. So I got to the bottom of the second run, I don't know if you can see there, 104. It's already running really sluggish. It says it's in turbo, but it feels more like it's dropped itself into trail mode. Definitely on the power delivery, and I think that's to do with voltage drop and all that good stuff. So it's, the last 10% is really hard to use, especially in turbo. Right, so on this climb we're going to see how the battery transfers over from the external battery to the internal one. Right, I'm going to just turn the camera off until we get to that bit. Oh my god, it's such a hard climb now. Oh, what power does it say it's delivering? See, that is not double. That top number should be double that on turbo. So I'm doing 150, it should be putting out 300, so it is throttling back as the battery reaches its depletion level. Right, let's see what happens when the battery completely fails. So that's awesome. I wish I kept the camera going. When it got down to 103, it just got a surge of power and it just dropped straight on to the bike battery. That was awesome. So it's just basically failed over. I'm now riding, I can now feel that the power's there, that it's not in limp mode. So I've got another, what, 90% until that happens again. So pretty good. I might just crack in one more run whilst I'm here. And I think I've been riding for about an hour. So yeah, I'll actually, let's see what range, because then I can calculate the range, can't I? So it reckons I've got 22 miles left on it. See, one of the cool things you can do, now the range extender is dead, depleted. Obviously you wouldn't do this if it was mega muddy, because obviously the seal that goes in here, you can't see from that side, but the cap that covers your power charging port is obviously exposed, unless you bring a rag and some tissue to wipe it down. But all you can then do is take it out when it's depleted, and guess what? If you're not far from your car, switch it for a lighter bottle, so you shed some weight and get some water. So while I'm here, I'm going to do a third lap without the range extender, and this is about just over, it's about 1.1 kilos. I mean, drinks bottle's going to weigh nothing compared to that, so shed a little bit of weight and go around, and I'm a bit more tired now, but I've taken some weight off it. Boom, result. I will give you my verdict at the end of the video, whether I think this is worth it. What I've also done is I've gone into Trailforks and I've manually mapped out, as you can see, the course. Well, I'm going through manually mapping out the course that I did, and then I'll obviously post the results of what I actually rode, how far I actually rode versus how long the battery actually lasted. So I think that's going to be important to people to actually see how the reality versus what the bike was reporting. So time for my summary of the range extender. So let's look at the pros first of all. I can get an additional 10 miles of range with the bike in turbo with 100% assist and 100% power. So when I did that ride round Hampsterley, using Trailforks, I mapped out the distance and it was 4.97 miles a loop. and then I managed to start getting up the fire road before it switched over to the battery. So I managed to do a solid 10 miles on turbo from this battery before it was depleted. So that's really, really good. And you got to bear in mind I did this on max power. If I use trail mode, which I've tuned in mission control to be 50% assist and 50% power, I would have been able to go for possibly 20 miles. Then got to factor in that, so you factor in the fact that I've given it a really thorough test. I've ragged the battery on turbo full power mode the whole time. It's also, when I was riding, it was about 18 degrees, and again, batteries don't like being too cold or too hot, so the battery drain was probably quicker. If it being around 10 degrees, I might have seen more life out of it. So the range that they estimated that I'd done from the range extender was 15 miles. I really got 10 miles out of it. So pros are, I can go for a 10-mile aggressive ride, do 2 laps of hamsterly, and not use the internal battery, not start draining that. And an external battery is a lot cheaper to replace than an internal battery. So yes, I think it's worth it. So let's look at the negatives. Like, you lose your bottle cage. That is frustrating. You do add about 1.1 kilos of weight to the bike, and it is an expensive investment. It's £340 on the Specialized site. I got it from a different site for £299. Then you've got the kind of 40, 50 quid cable, and then if you want to do the splitter for dual charging, so it can rack up to be almost be £450. But if you've got the money, run this, use this, and it's going to save your internal battery. If you're riding with full-blown e-bikes, you're never going to keep up with this kind of bike, but what it allows you to do is run that bike at its maximum peak performance on turbo for as long as physically possible, or those longer rides, or if you're not quite as fit. So there's lots of use cases for having the battery. Now I'm on Specialized website. Let's see, scroll down and see what the reviews say, because I've got a feeling they're going to probably match up with my views. So 10 reviews, 4.6 out of 5. So should include cable, 100% agree with that. Don't know if it should get 2 stars because of that. Don't forget the hassle and cost of the required cable. So yes, I think Specialized for the price of this should include the 3 cables. It's a cable, right? So you haven't, obviously there's a Creo cable, there's a Kenevo, and there's the Levo cable. So there's 3 different cables. So taking the cost aside, taking the fact you lose your water bottle, that additional extra 1.1 kilos, I definitely think it's a worthwhile investment. I think the pros outweigh the cons, and if you want to get out there, if you want to be on your bike as long as possible, you want to spread that duration as long as possible, maybe using it in trail mode, or if you want to go around and get some good laps in on turbo, and do it, because wearing out this battery and trying to just use this battery is going to be better than the repeated wear on the internal batteries, which is a hell of a lot more to replace. So if you can go out there, and I could go out to Hampstead again, I could do 2 solid laps and just use that range extender. I could put the bike in the car and I haven't touched the internal battery at all. So I hope this review was pretty in-depth. Put some pretty good effort into it. If you've got any questions, queries, thoughts, feedback, just leave them in the chat. I'm happy to discuss or give any additional information.